everybody, it's Jody and welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about how I memorize songs and also a little bit why I memorize songs. So let's get into it. For me, when I'm learning a new song, the last step in the process for me is usually to commit that to memory. I think it's important. I especially prefer to have songs memorized when I perform, but I just think it kind of helps you to internalize the music and kind of connect with the music. And there's some other little benefits also we'll talk about at the end of this video. So yeah, I like to memorize my music, and I do so on a regular basis, and I always hear comments from people saying, I wish I could do that, I can't do that. And so I thought I'd just make a video on how I do it, because everybody's gonna kind of have their own process, but I thought maybe it'll help some people. So let's get into it, okay? Step number one, when memorizing a song, is all up here, and that is just believing that you can do it and that you're gonna do it. All those people that are always saying, oh, I can never memorize music. Well, yeah, because you've already failed, because you've already told yourself you can't do it. So it's kind of like that little saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So you really need to be careful with that negative self-talk and change your internal language. Maybe say, I've never memorized a song before, but I'm gonna try. And even one step further, just commit to it and say, this is the time, I'm gonna do it this time, I'm gonna memorize this song. And just commit to it, and however long it takes, say, I'm gonna do it, even if it's just this one time, I'm gonna memorize this song. So I think that's really important, to be in the right frame of mind, and know that it's possible and you can do it and you're gonna do it. Secondly is choose wisely, especially if you have had trouble in the past. You may want to pick a song that you're already very familiar with the words, or pick a song that only has 2 chords or 3 chords, that doesn't move around a lot. If you have trouble memorizing, start easy, start simple, start with a simple song. All right, next step, we're gonna break it up a little bit between lyrics and chords. So we're gonna talk about lyrics for a little while. So when I'm memorizing a song, what I do first, when I'm learning a song, is I've got my music stand here. Can't really see it in the frame. I've got my music stand right here, and I have it out in front of me, and I play along looking at the song. But the difference is, again, up here, I've kind of turned on a little switch because I've decided I'm gonna be memorizing this song. So I'm just kind of paying attention a little bit more. It's kind of like if you're in a class and then a teacher suddenly says, oh, and you're gonna be tested on this later. Then all of a sudden you start to pay attention a little bit more. And so that's what I do. I play it with the sheet music in front of me, but I really pay attention. And I pay attention to the words and how they flow in, how the ideas flow from one to the next. And just kind of turn on that awareness a little bit. And I'll do that a bunch of times. You don't have to rush into memorizing a song. The key to all of this is going to be repetition. So the more you play it with the sheet music, it's going to help you later on, especially, again, if you're paying attention while you sing it and play it with the music in front of you. So then the next step is just to take a small little part. Decide, okay, I'm gonna memorize the first verse. So you play the first verse with the music in front of you, then you look away and try and play it without looking at the words. I find it helpful to keep the music there, so that if you have if you blank out on the next word, you can look real quickly, get your spot again, and then look away again. So I kind of like to do that. I kind of like to have it there for a little bit as my little cheat sheet, but try not to look at it. And then you just kind of work your way that way, by doing one verse at a time. And I do that with my students when I always have them memorize songs at the end. especially songs that they really respond to and really like. And I will just give them the assignment, this week I want you to just try and memorize verse 1, so you can really take your time with it. The amount of time it takes for each person is gonna be different. And I suspect you're gonna get quicker at it the more you do this as well. But don't worry about if it takes you a week to get a verse memorized. Whatever, just you've already committed, you're gonna do this however long it takes, so just have fun with it. And that's another reason why you want to choose your song wisely. Choose a song you like. Unless you're a professional musician who has to learn music that you may not like or may not be familiar with, you get to pick. So pick a song you like, because you're going to be spending some time with it. So sometimes there's some songs that I've learned that have just been really a lot of lyrics, or whenever there's songs that have like a list of things, sometimes takes me a little bit longer to memorize, versus like if it's like more like a prose lyric, that's kind of like a dialogue or something, it just seems to be easier for me. But if it's depending on how it's structured lyrically, some of them are more difficult than others. And so for me, when I reach that point, I'll repeat it to myself all day long. I'll sing it in the shower, I'll sing it in the car, I'll lay down, put my head on the pillow, and I'll go through that tricky verse one more time. The more, again, it's repetition. The more times you commit to doing it, the easier it's gonna get, and the more it's gonna be cemented in your memory. So repeat, repeat, repeat. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. It's like, I'm sure you've experienced muscle memory at this point. If you've been playing, for any length of time, you don't have to think, where do all 3 fingers go for the G chord? Because this hand has just learned the spot, and it's got that muscle memory. And the same thing kind of happens with your brain. And I suspect with your mouth. You kind of just learn that pathway, learn that pattern, and the more you repeat it, the more you're able to repeat it again in the future. So that's kind of it for me as far as memorizing lyrics. Another thing you could try is writing them out. I don't typically do that unless I can't find a song and I want to figure it out. I'll write out the lyrics and figure out the chords and stuff. But writing it could help. That's definitely a proven method for helping you to remember things. And also, if you use different colors, different color ink, that can help also. It kind of gives you this mental picture you can go back to in your brain. So that could be another thing you could try. So that's about it for my tips for memorizing lyrics. And now let's move on to chords, because there's more to songs than just lyrics, right? You also have to be able to play it, and play the chords. So one thing I have found helpful is to have a little bit of knowledge of music theory. I'll probably be posting a tutorial sometime in the future explaining what I think is important to understand as far as music theory. But just basically knowing what key you're in. So if you're in the key of C, knowing the 1, 4, 5 chords. If you're in the key of C, the 4 chord is going to be an F, the 5 chord is going to be a G. And then you start to just notice patterns. Like you notice a lot of times when you go into a bridge, it starts off on the 4 chord. You notice it's almost always going to end on the 1 chord, whatever chord you're playing in, key you're playing in. So just having a little bit of knowledge of music theory can help sometimes with understanding just the structure of the song, so it makes more sense. So when you go to memorize it, it makes sense to you. It's not just random chords you're trying to remember the order of. Also, and a totally other approach is to kind of memorize the pattern your fingers are making on the fretboard. And an example of that would be the song Perfect by Ed Sheeran. When you get into the chorus, it goes E minor, C, G, D. And I just remembered that I'm starting out here, and then I'm moving up to the 3rd fret, and then I'm doing the 2nd and 3rd fret, and then I'm doing the 2nd fret. So I kind of remember that I'm kind of starting out here on the E minor and working my way back up to the D. And in the chorus that repeats like 4 times. So I just kind of remembered how that felt in my left hand. So instead of really remembering E minor, C, G, D, I just kind of memorized, start out here, work my way in. There's a lot of songs, especially if they repeat over and over, a lot of songs that can, that you can kind of just get your left hand to remember how it feels, and it's almost like a little dance your left hand's doing. So that has been helpful for me also. And again, when I say choose songs wisely, you could also just choose a song that repeats the same chord progression throughout the whole song. And there's plenty of songs like that, especially in pop music that do that. So that's a little bit about memorizing chords. And then again, it all just boils down to repetition, repetition, repetition. Just play them together. Sometimes, I remember when my husband was learning Can't Help Falling in Love, he noticed that when you got to the falling in, you're playing an F, and that helped him. That was just like a little mile marker. When you got to the falling, you're playing an F. And so sometimes you can also do that. I do that with Riptide at the very end when you're repeating it, the last line. I remember when you re-switch to the A minor, what word I'm on. So sometimes that can help too, to kind of link some lyrics with the chords. But yeah, then just repeat, repeat, repeat. And like I said, I think it's important. For my kids, I call them pocket songs. It's nice to have a song that's in your back pocket. You can pick up your uke and play it anywhere. You don't need a music stand, you don't need music. You can pick it up and you can play it. And the cool thing is, after you've repeated enough, you get to the point where you can play it. You're not thinking about what word comes next and what chord comes next. That's all second nature, because you repeated it so many times, you can just do it. So that frees you to thinking about, how does this song sound? How does it feel? What kind of emotion is behind this lyric that I'm singing? And it kind of helps you connect with it on a different level, because it's gotten all the technical stuff out of the way, and you can just connect with the song and in turn connect with your audience, whether you're on a stage or you're just playing for your mom or your sister. So I think it's a real freeing experience to be able to internalize a song and then just play it from your heart and play it how you want to hear it in that moment. So I would love to hear your comments if you have found this at all helpful, and if you have other methods to memorizing music, and also just your story. If you are inspired to now memorize your first song, I'd love to hear about that as well. I really truly believe that you all can do it. I truly believe that, so I hope that you believe it too, because remember, that's step number 1. And I'm just going to close with an extra little benefit that I find hopefully in this whole process is, I think it's like sharpening my brain and exercising my brain, and I'm hoping that will help me in my future, and I maybe won't get dementia, because my brain I've been working it out all of these years. So it's just an added little advantage to committing to memorizing music. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope you play your uke today. Please, please play your uke today and feed your soul, induce joy. And I'll see you real soon, guys. Bye-bye.